What's going on, guys? This is Bruce Matson, your host of the show, Metric Scout Fantasy Football, and I'm going over a quick rundown of the first round of this year's draft from fantasy football standpoint, going over the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, how I see it hot off the press, without time having to wind down, think about the process, just what I'm seeing off the top of my head right now. I'm going to go through this kind of quick for you guys, get you guys off rolling about your day. But the first thing we start off with three quarterbacks off the board right away: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance. Later on down, Justin Fields gets drafted at 11 to the Bears, and then Mac Jones falls all the way to 15 to the Patriots. So obviously Trevor Lawrence, quarterback 101 in Superflex leagues. Print day, like creme of quarterbacks. He's the top guy. Now after that, things get a little shaky. Before going into this draft, Justin Fields was my QB2. I feel like he still is my QB2 due to the talent. He has Allen Robinson there. I know from how people feel, they do not like the landing spot of the Bears. I understand, but I like to go talent over situation. Still first round draft capital. The draft capital is still high. That does not bother me at all. And him being there in Chicago isn't that bad of a fit. All they have to do is add talent to the wide receiver core for him to have more options. Darnell Mooney's pretty solid. And I do not expect these rookie quarterbacks to come out slinging rockets, winning Super Bowls year one. It's a developmental process. I expect more out of Trevor Lawrence, but I expect this to take a little time. But I think this is good for the Bears. This isn't bad for Justin Fields. I think he's going to still be my QB2. And then QB3 for me out of this draft is definitely Trey Lance, due to the rushing ability, due to the weapons he has. This is probably the best situation for him, due to him being paired with Brandon Ayuk, Kittle, and Samuel. This is a good spot, and it's a good place for him to learn. And then his rushing ability will give him a solid floor in fantasy. After digesting this for a few minutes or a couple hours after the pick, Zach Wilson is my QB4 right now, and probably will stay there throughout the summer unless I start rethinking things. But I don't like him at the Jets. I don't like Zach Wilson that much at all. He doesn't have that rushing ability to give you that high floor. And I like Corey Davis. I like Mims. I think this receiving core is on the up and up. I like Jamison Crowder. I just think that Trey Lance, Justin Fields are better options due to their rushing ability. Zach Wilson hasn't faced top echelon defenses on the college level, so there's going to be a transitioning process there, and plus he's a Jet. He's QB4 for me. And then right now, Mac Jones, he's QB5, but it's not far off from Wilson. I can flip and flop those guys, so he's not really etched in stone at QB4 for me with Wilson, but he might as well be. I'm just not in love with quarterbacks who do not have that rushing upside. Obviously, super flex, I'm willing to pay a little premium because they are quarterbacks. I like Mac Jones. It's just the Patriots do not have that mystique anymore. They need to add weapons. N'Keal Harry's not getting it done. Julian Edelman's gone. It's just bare there, and they need to update that wide receiver unit. And for this team to click, for Mac Jones to be able to exceed expectations, or it's just not going to look good. But my quarterbacks right now, easy rankings for me to make, and they haven't really changed since the draft started. Trevor Lawrence 1, Justin Fields 2, Trey Lance 3, Zach Wilson 4, Mac Jones 5. I almost called him Mac Miller. That's how this day is going. It's late at night. So Mac Miller 5. I did call him Mac Jones 5. That's how it is. Going to the wide receivers, Jamar Chase goes to Cincy. There's going to be a lot of dispute between T. Higgins, Chase, Boyd. Is there enough mouths to feed? Listen, Chase is a premium wide receiver. He's an alpha. You pay that premium for him. for him. He's either going to be the 101, 102 in rookie drafts. I suggest paying the 101 for him. I suggest paying up for him over those running backs. I think he's that good of a prospect for me. I still have him as my 101 over Najee Harris. And Jamar Chase is going to help that Bengals offense. Whether you believe they needed to draft Sewell or not, both of those players, if they draft either one of them, they both would have helped that offense. That's just real talk right there. But Jamar Chase is easily the wide receiver one. I've been pontificating, pondering the rest of these wide receivers because I'm not really in love with them and then where they're at in their landing spots. I love their draft capital, obviously, the first round. I love all these wide receivers' draft capitals. But we have Jalen Waddle going to the 6th spot to the Dolphins. Then we got Devonta Smith at 10 to the Eagles. And then last but not... then we also got Kadarius Toney, 20 to the Giants. And then last but not least is Rashad Bateman, 27 to the Ravens. First off, let's just take a black marker, scratch out Kadarius Toney's name. I knew he was going to go in the first round all along, months on end, and I've had him out in my top 10, top 11, 12. He's not going to get in there now just because he's a Giant. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to be there for me. Whatever you do, it's not my problem. But Kadarius Toney's not there for me. Now it's a choice between Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and Rashad Bateman. And I've been battling myself all night right now. And I really feel that Rashad Bateman's probably the guy to go here. Wide receiver 1 right now. We got to see where the other wide receivers get drafted because day 2, second round draft capital is not bad. But Rashad Bateman going to the Ravens, I like better than Devonta Smith going to the Eagles. I like that better because, sure, Devonta Smith is going to get a large portion of the targets right off the bat, but that offense, that program, that team was just fire last year. It was just not bad, not good, or a dumpster fire. Not a big fan of that. I like Jalen Hurts, but I'm not comfortable with his ability to spread the ball, and I don't know if they're even sold on him long term. I like that he's a top 10 pick, but we knew this was going to happen. And then Jalen Waddle going to Miami to be paired with Tua, Devontae Parker, Will Fuller. There's a lot of wide receivers there to mix with. Both of these guys are older wide receivers who don't have the early breakout age either from college. And now that we know the landing spot, now that it's filling into me, I feel like Rashad Bateman's still the guy here. And he's going to be my wide receiver 2 behind Chase. I see Rashad Bateman just being the dog in the Ravens offense, soaking up all the targets. And say what you want about Marquise Brown, but he really isn't a first-round wide receiver talent to begin with. So we cannot make those claims on him. I think Rashad Bateman's going to be the stud in the offense. I think he's going to eventually take over, like he did in Minnesota. I think that's going to happen. That's something Lamar Jackson just hasn't had. And if you're down with Lamar Jackson, but you're against him getting receivers, then obviously you're not down with Lamar Jackson. I'm cool with him. I think he can spread the rock. He's eventually going to have to stop running as much. He's eventually going to have to start throwing it more. And then passing volumes change over time. They don't stay the same. I can see Baltimore having to rely more on his arm. Maybe not this year. Maybe not next year, but down the line. And we're not drafting these rookies for the rookie season in 2021. I see Rashad Bateman start showing us what he was capable of at Minnesota 2022, 2023, and I think it's going to be worth it. The same thing, Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith. I don't expect them to be hits year 1. I think Rashad Bateman's in a sneaky situation where he can command a good 20-25% share of the targets. I think he is in that spot. He can be moved all over the field from the slot to the outside. Very efficient route runner, good hands. He is a hyper athletic dude. There's just a lot of good things to this game. There's basically no red flags other than he's 190 pounds instead of 210 pounds in what we were projecting earlier this draft season. I think this is a good spot for him. I think people are going to fade him unnecessarily this draft season. I guarantee it. I guarantee the buzz is already on social media about that. So to recap, Rashad Bateman's my wide receiver 1. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle, my wide receiver 2 right now. Devonta Smith, my wide receiver 3. Those two, Waddle and Smith, they're going to change and fluctuate. I guarantee when we see Rondale or Elijah Moore get drafted, even Terrace Marshall, they're going to move up there. I don't have a good feeling about those two guys. I just don't have it. It's just not my cup of tea with those guys. I don't like late breakout players. I don't like older wide receivers, and I don't like them when they have profiles like that going to a situation I'm not in love with. So I'm not in love with that. I love the draft capital. That's the main thing on their profiles that I'm into. The running backs, 2 went off the board. Najee Harris to the Steelers. Grandiose situation. If you need a running back, you're at the 101. You have to have a running back. I don't mind you taking him there. I don't mind it. I prefer Chase over him just because I feel like Chase is more alpha. Chase is going to give you wide receiver 1 results probably 6 years down the road, where Najee Harris will get you some good seasons. But all in all, he doesn't have the speed burst to keep it trucking for year and year and year out. But he's going to be a grinder year 1. He's a rookie that you can plug and play right now on your roster and make an impact. Guarantee that he'll catch the ball, catch some checkdowns from Ben Roethlisberger, and be fantasy relevant, maybe low-end RB1, high-end RB2 range. He's going to do that for you instantly. If that's something you need, then go ahead, get him. I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. Travis Etienne. So what I've gauged from reading the room is not many people are into Travis Etienne because he went to the Jaguars. I get it. James Robinson's there. It does not look like he's going to be a 3-down back, but there are plenty of running backs. Well, there's a handful of them that get 15, 18 touches a game and are still fantasy relevant. And if you look back in the archives of this channel, you see a comparison video of him and Alvin Kamara. And I do not make a direct comparison to them, but there is a comparison of how Travis Etienne can win on the field versus Alvin Kamara, and that is being a check down artist, catching the ball in the flat and then using the speed and burst to get yards after the catch. Etienne's obviously not a prolific route runner, and honestly, Alvin Kamara didn't start off as that either. But Alvin Kamara has good burst and good speed, same as Etienne, catching the ball in the flat, getting in open space. We all seen how quickly he can eat up yards, and we know Trevor Lawrence has a history with that. He knows about Etienne. He's had it played a lot of time with him, so it just appears like it could be a match made in heaven. He probably does not need a 30 carry a week, 25 carries a week to be fantasy relevant. He probably just needs to catch 5 balls, 2 of them with space, and zip some long games and probably get some touchdowns. This is probably good for James Robinson because they could have drafted Javonte Williams later or somebody else where he can still coexist. This is a backfield where both these running backs can coexist and both of them be productive. It sucks for James Robinson because he's not going to get the receiving work. It's just not going to be happening anymore. Travis Etienne is going to be catching those passes out of the backfield, and he should be because he's got that zip, he's got that burst, he's got that long speed, and then you got James Robinson grinding between the tackles. This is the best of both worlds. You do need 2 good backs in the NFL these days. They got that. There was a report about Urban Meyer talking about Travis Etienne as a good 3rd down back. That is coach speak. They're going to get under the hood in training camp, see what they got, see what mixes well, and go from there. But the overall feeling is they want to get their new toy, Trevor Lawrence, some toys, some continuity, some good weapons, so he can develop, he can evolve, and start things on the ground running instead of being hindered. And Travis Etienne's a good get for that situation. They could have went other positions. That's obviously smarter, especially from a value perspective. They didn't really need Travis Etienne. This is more like a luxury thing to help Trevor Lawrence get going. That's just mainly what it is. And the continuity between them two, the receiving ability, although he's just a check down artist, but his burst, his long speed, it's going to help the offense. He can be fantasy relevant. I would hold Travis Etienne pretty high in rookie drafts, especially if you're not in love with Waddle, Smith, Bateman. If you're not in love, you're wishy-washy with them, and you need a running back, obviously have Etienne as your 103-ish. But I have Bateman as my wide receiver too. Najee, RB1, Etienne, RB2. I wouldn't be surprised if Etienne outperforms Najee. I feel safer with Najee, though, because I know he's getting the full workload from the rip, and he's going to be fantasy relevant now. And that's what I want to buy. That's what I'm buying him for. The safety, the security, the insurance of him being fantasy relevant now versus the wild card with ETN. I'm still paying for ETN because the upside's there. He's still got RB1 upside in Jacksonville, and there's also a good chance that he hits that, especially with Trevor Lawrence, them being able to make the ball, keep the ball moving. Trevor Lawrence, right now, even with him on Jacksonville, new team, new coach, new everything, is probably already a top 12, top 10 quarterback in the league. It's hard to think about that right now, but he is. That's the talent level. That's the 101. He's been the 101 since 2018, since he's been out of high school. We've been waiting for this, and now it's here. The fact that you got a running back paired with him now, and you know throughout this running back's career, he's going to be on an offense that's going to continuously move the chains. You can't discount that still, even though he's sharing it with another running back. This is going to be an interesting tandem between James Robinson and ETN, but it's a great one, especially if you're a Jaguars fan. Well, I want to thank you for watching the show. Also, don't draft Kadarius Toney. He's going to be a bust in New York. That's just a horrible landing spot. I have him etched out with black pen, but stay away from Kadarius Toney at all costs. But again, I want to thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sticking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll catch you next time.